Air Force, but with other nations as well. This particular aircraft is a T5, which was second generation servo aircraft. The first developments came out of the Hunting personnel stable. It was one of the very earliest British trainer aircraft, and entered service in the 1950s. The first prototype flew in June 1954, making its first flight from the factory at Luton. That designated the jet those developed into the T3, the standard training for the other JP teams. Of course, you might remember those veterans amongst us, the poachers, did a great job. You see, once we get into the jet world, how much more space is required just to do something as simple as a loop meeting up several thousand feet rather than several hundred. There's yourselves there to show it off. So you have the Texan version of the very successful Harvard family, dating back to the 1930s. This one was actually built in 1942, and one of 3,000 T6D models, differing from the basic Harvard. It has fixed forward-firing .30 machine guns and a rear perspex canopy also opening forward. An excellent trainer, now used by we got the chopper up and running, but we will see the beautiful Leonard. Absolutely gorgeous position, had a very bit of a kick of life. It's taken quite a long time to get it back in the air, and I think it's a great joy to see. Just terrific to see it back in the air.
You know what I can sort
Hard to imagine everyone suffered rather checkered life, having various incidents at seafare. The aircraft remained in production for 12 years. The first prototype was in March 1936, and the first Mark I was entered service in August 1938. Spitfires fought in every operational theatre of the war and remained in Royal Air Force frontline service right up until 1954. At the end of its development, the Spitfire carried an engine producing more than twice the power of the original. Its maximum takeoff weight and rate of climb had more than doubled, but its firepower had increased by a factor of 5, with its maximum speed having increased by a third. All in very much the same original airframe. It's in a way very sad that R.J. Mitchell never saw the incredible and outrageous success this week.
Costing £2 million a year to run, £38,500 a week the trust has to raise. It's always been a struggle. She's not funded by the government, obviously, and she no longer belongs to the Royal Air Force, flying with the Vulcan. Now she is just lining up to our left at the moment with Kev Rumans, the man flying her today. He's the co-captain. The other co-captain is Bill Ramsey, and there's a third member of the crew, the Air Electronics Officer, and that's Phil Davies for today. So as she comes running in from our left, starting to accelerate, coming in quite slowly, as you can see, I can see as I look straight to our left, you can see how strong the wind is from the she's quite drifting significantly to the left. See the air brakes coming out on the top and bottom of the wing as she turns away there. That's to slow her down after the acceleration. We just heard the beginning of the Vulcan hull from those 4 Olympus jet engines. About £16,500 of static thrust from each of those, £65,000 in total. This is the aeroplane, don't forget, that protected this country against the threat of nuclear holocaust in the days when she was part of the mutually assured destruction that prevented the Third World War happening. Coming back in towards us, Kev Rumans will apply the power soon and take her into about 3/4 of a spiral climb. £65,000 of static thrust, and that was intended to carry an amazing bomb load. After she stopped being a nuclear bomber, when she handed that awesome responsibility over to the Royal Navy, she became a conventional bomber, and she was able to carry 21 1,000-pound bombs in a huge bomb bay, which we shall see later. But as she comes by next time, you'll have noticed that the wheels have come down, all 18 wheels, and that's just to show what she looks like with the wheels down, because sad to say she won't be landing here today. There isn't quite the runway for it, but this is what she would be looking like if she were coming in to land. Clean shape. It's interesting that that shape is so clean. She comes by this time, watch for those Bombay doors closing. See that area that has the 1,000 pound bombs. The bomb doors are now closed. So in the 1990s, David Vulcan and his family, who bought this aircraft from the RAF and all the spares, and Dr. Robert big 558 is my baby. Team of 6 engineers who daily work miracles, keeping this 55-year-old aeroplane flying. And her number 558, 55 years she's been flying this particular aircraft, and 8 years since she was restored. And you can see there that she is as manoeuvrable as a fighter. She even has fighter-style control sticks. She doesn't have a big control yoke that most bombers have. She now lives at what used to be RAF Finningley. It's now called Robin Hood Airport, Doncaster, Sheffield. She was actually stationed there, this aircraft, between 1960 and 68. But she has her own hangar now, and you can go and visit her there.
Team then sold here in the UK. They changed the motors a few times, and then Richard got his hands on it and started pulling it apart. He modified it, bigger engine, bigger rudder, new wings coming for next year, different control surfaces, you name it. Richard's played with it, all to produce something quite different. As you can see, he's also got a very impressive smoke system on it. That's so you can keep a track of exactly what it's doing in the sky, and it's a little louder than normal as well, so it produces quite a bit of noise, but I think you'll all agree it certainly catches the attention.
He deserves a lot of credit for this. I know he's really applied himself and just about everybody else in the industry to get this far. And tremendous aspect there, absolutely superb figure going up, and look at the drift.
Richard will be, to a great degree at the moment, assessing just how much this wind is going to affect in his manoeuvres. He did have a plan exactly what he was going to do today. He came with a caveat. Freestyle back towards the end to